It is Jamie. It is Loreena. We wanted to share this story with you. Since meeting Loreena, I've told her, you got to write these stories. You have to write a book. The adventures she gets up to, the places she's been, people she's met. It's awesome. And we have the latest chapter to tell you about this morning. I think we're going to call this chapter How to Flush Your Life Away.
Oh, wow. It's a pretty good point, though. Yes. So the story is that I was in Niagara Falls on the weekend at a concert, went to a restaurant, was going to the bathroom before we left. So we live a fair distance from Niagara Falls, obviously. And as I was flushing the toilet, my purse was around my neck, and I kind of carry it on the side of my body sometimes. I brought my hand up for some reason and bonked the purse upside down, spilling its contents into the flushing toilet. So it was already simultaneously flushing as everything went in. And I heard a big loud clunk and water came up. And then all I really saw was what looked like my debit card going down and also a $5 bill. And I thought, oh, shoot, that stuff's gone. But then as I started searching through my purse, I realized the other contents that had also fallen in there and been flushed away were my car keys and my driver's license. And I can laugh about this now, but when it happened, I'll tell you, I was not laughing. I was really scared.
Well, everybody knows that feeling, right? Your heart is at your feet. It's on the floor. You're
Yeah.
cold. It's just like stun, right? That stun reaction. Now, we could unpack this all we want here, but the reality is the most careful people on the planet, stuff like this happens to, right? I consider myself a
Yeah.
very careful person. I've lost cell phones down ice fishing holes. I've done reckless, careless things. It's
Yeah.
all just such a split second that it happens. But for those, and I'll single out my wife on this one, Loreena, that leave their purse open, my wife does this and it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
We can all learn from this mistake. It comes with this beautiful little zipper that you can just ever so carefully close. And why don't women do this? What is your reasoning?
You know what? My reasoning, because I usually actually do close the zipper, but I had just gotten a beer at the bar and had my debit card out. So I had placed it back in there and left the purse open at that point. So that was my reasoning. So
And we
people will say, oh,
also,
she obviously had a few too many beers. But no, I only had one.
uh, we also have to wonder these toilets. Why and who invented these suction toilets
Oh,
that in the split second, whoosh, it's halfway to
yeah.
Mexico before you can even do anything. What happened to the slow swirl,
Oh,
whoosh, and then you'd watch
right.
the water swirl? You have time to
Yes.
grab it if you need. What happened to
I
those?
I wish we still had those. And some, homes do, and our workplace has a slow, moving one. But these swoosh in the big companies, restaurants and stuff, this was a big building this happened in. And yeah, whoosh, it was gone in an
Oh my
instant.
goodness. All right, now let's try to put ourselves in your husband's shoes. He's sitting at the table wondering where
Oh,
you've been. You come back looking like you've just seen a ghost. I mean, any
yeah.
husband can immediately guess how they would react, but nobody knows because nobody ever gets this news.
The poor guy. So he was waiting for me actually outside of the bathroom because we were really close to leaving. And I said, honey, I composed myself. It probably took about 5 minutes in the bathroom before I'm like, I got to go tell him. I said, honey, something really bad happened to me in the bathroom. And the first thing he said was, are you okay? Which was nice. So I had a little bit of ground leeway there. And I said, no, I'm okay, but we're not okay. You and I. Yeah, I lost our keys. And he honestly didn't believe me at first. And
Ah,
then there were some
okay.
words that children cannot hear.
No, exactly. We don't need to worry. Anybody can guess. We'd all say the same words.
Oh,
So once
unbelievable.
you kind of accept what has happened, realize what has happened, you're hours from home, you do not have car keys, you lost your debit card. Luckily, he had a payment card still on him. I mean, what's the play? What's the next move? Just in case any of us ever fall into this situation.
Okay, so it was late at night. So I told the manager what had happened in the restaurant, and she said, oh, sorry, I don't know. There's nothing we can do. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And I wish my husband had spoken up at that point and said, well, there might be something we can do. We'll be back in the morning with a plumber to see if we can get in there. And we would have made sure they closed the bathroom and whatnot. But we went home. We walked everywhere from then on. walked back to our hotel, which was a fair distance. And then in the morning, I started calling locksmiths in the area. I got in touch with the plumber, had to get in touch with the restaurant again. They didn't open till 11. So once I got in touch with them, I had asked the plumber to stand by that maybe the restaurant would let me in. They did eventually let me in. The plumber met me there. After we walked all around Niagara Falls again. And then we went in and he actually put this device down the toilet, looked everywhere for it, couldn't find even one shred of trace of a key. So we eventually had to, locksmiths were way too expensive or couldn't come until 8 o'clock at night. I go to work at 4 a.m. the next day. So we eventually decided we need someone to come and bring our spare key. My daughter did that. It was a long drive for her and she looked a little sour when she arrived, but thank goodness for her.
Okay. So hubby, everybody's laughing about it now.
Yeah.
Horror story in the moment, but I mean, this can only happen to you. How do you keep falling upon these stories? It's amazing.
It's because I'm very reckless. Actually, I'm not so much. I think it could happen to anyone. Everyone do up your purse, please, ladies and men who might have them. I don't know. I don't judge.
All right. And the other lesson is stop installing these suction toilets that don't give you any chance
Yeah.
to fish out things that fall in.
Yeah.